Hey, this is Alan Curtis Meisner, otherwise known as the Dragonmancer. And as ever with me are my lovely assistants, the tortoise, the mouse, and the eagle. And of course, with me today is my very frequent companion, Wyvern the Dragon. Now, as was promised by the pumpkin creature from the animated shorts, this is the conclusion of the Dragonmancer talks about Halloween Trilogy. And the conclusion that I have been able to come up with is that first, there is the recap of the previous two, that, Halloween started out as a New Year's Eve and memorial, a type of New Year's Eve and memorial festival, and also marked the end of the year and end of the harvest, and that mummies reminded us of potential for immortality. And you also remember that trick-or-treating started out as a means of obtaining items in exchange for a prayer on behalf of the deceased. But I'll bet you didn't also. I'll bet you may or may not have known this, but there was a type of potluck that was held on an annual basis. This is true, which would ultimately lead to haunted houses and lots of parties. Of course, then it would also lead to such things as the Hell House. Now, in my case, I don't usually go to the Hell Houses, not only because I just don't have the time for it, but also because I've already committed my life to Jesus Christ without having to be scared into doing so. Now, they might insist that they don't use scare tactics, but I've seen the program entitled Hell House that touches upon the subject, and from what I've noticed, everyone who goes in, quite a few of them do look very scared indeed. Some even look disturbed because of the depictions of violence. Now, it's one thing to scare people, but don't use that as a means of forcing people to commit to a life of Jesus Christ, because that's not how it works. Now, on the whole, I'm not trying to criticize, but I'm just trying to point out there is a much more loving way of doing it. But rather than go on with that rant, I'll just leave it there. As I mentioned, there are haunted houses. And, for instance, for the last couple of years in Atlanta, Georgia, there is a haunted house called the Netherworld, in which basically you're entering into the parking lot and you're coming across a couple of actors dressed up in monster costumes, and they're scaring the crap out of everyone who comes in. And then, of course, there's the main attraction itself. There's also lots and lots of scares, animatronics, more actors, basically layer after layer after layer. I'm surprised that they don't have actors coming in as you're going out, but then again, perhaps the same actors you came across when you first entered might be the case. They also tell about I'm willing to follow the possibility that Netherworld might have been elsewhere too. just in case I didn't get it right that it was Atlanta, Georgia. But there's also in the town of Ulster, New York, right near the very real Sleepy Hollow. There's a Headless Horseman hayride, haunted hayride, lots of scares and stuff. And at the and then if you were to go down to New Orleans, there's a place that is known as the House of Shock. And this one was so scary and so controversial that what ended up happening, so scary that oftentimes police and religious authorities got involved and tried to shut the place down. Well, it managed to thrive in spite of this. They even tell about how one particular night there was a woman who at the House of Shock that was so terrified that she actually died of a heart attack. Luckily, her friend was a registered nurse. She was able to revive her friend. She didn't necessarily die completely, clinically dead. That was the term they used. So, yeah, she kind of sort of died, but at the same time, she was able to be revived very quickly. And then there's also 13th Gate in St. Louis. I'd certainly like to go there since I've been to St. Louis. But these are the things. There's also, like, if you go down to LA, there is a place. It's a Queen Elizabeth II, I think they call. In either case, they refer to it as the Grey Ghost, because of the fact that during World War II it was painted gray so as to blend in with the sea while transporting troops to Japan across the Pacific, to and from the Pacific. And some say that it's haunted for reals. And then there's one that they hardly ever mention, but I'm pretty sure the time will come. Rob Zombie hosts the Rob Zombie, who is band leader. Apparently what he does is he comes to downtown Sacramento, and he is able to have this little haunted house that I don't know what they call it. I think they call it Fear Factory or something like that. But yeah, if you happen to live in Sacramento, or you've have ever wondered if there's haunted houses attractions in Sacramento, yeah, see, even Wyvern will be the first to tell you that, yeah, it's definitely there. And so this is what this is, like I said, the conclusion of the trilogy. I hope you've enjoyed the previous episodes, and I hope you enjoy this one too. And as ever, thanks for watching, and have a nice night. Try not to get scared.